Before the sun had even come up over the ocean, the village of Lamasera was already stirring wood creaking, dry thatched roofs whispering in the wind. On the damp, sandy beach, silhouettes of people trudged by, long spears balanced on their shoulders. The iron blades glinted under the flicker of oil lamps. The salty scent of the sea mixed with charcoal smoke from early morning fires, where women cooked sticky rice and boiled dried fish eggs for their husbands and children heading out to sea. Here, shark hunting isn't just a job, it's survival, a fragile lifeline between the people and the sea. Between poverty and the fading pride left by their ancestors. Lamasera, a small village in East Nusa Tenggara, Indonesia, is known as the last stronghold of sea hunters. Out here, people have nothing but the ocean. The land is bone dry, nothing but rocks and sand. Trees grow thin and scattered. The dry season lasts until the soles of your feet crack, and when the rains finally come, they wash everything back into the sea. Children grow up to the sound of waves. Men are born to rowboats. And the hunt, to them, sharks are both demons and divine gifts. I still remember that morning when I joined a group of fishermen heading out to sea. The sun was still hidden behind streaks of deep purple cloud. The old wooden boats, repainted over the years in peeling green, cut heavily through the waves. Each boat carried 3 or 4 men gripping oars, hemp ropes looped over their shoulders, their eyes dark and steady like the deep water itself, their shoulders wrapped in coarse hemp rope. Their eyes were as deep and dark as the water below. The oldest among them was Mr. Dungsero, over 60. Sunburned, his back bent with age, yet his voice still thundered like a sea drum. He said sometimes, despite their caution, curiosity lured them too close to danger. When the first shark appeared, I almost forgot to breathe. A massive black shape slid through the blue water, its triangular fins slicing the surface like a knife. One young man tightened his grip on the spear, waiting for the right moment, then launched it. The spear whistled through the air. Followed by the splash of white foam, the shark thrashed violently, its tail striking the boat, blood spreading in dark red swirls across the sea. The whole crew sprang into action, shouting and pulling the rope, stabbing again and again in what felt like an ancient ritual. There were no guns, no engines, no safety nets, just bare hands and raw courage. When they finally hauled the shark aboard, I saw its enormous size, nearly 4 meters long, weighing over 300 kilos. Its deep black eyes caught the first rays of sunlight, both terrifying and tragic. People call sharks the ocean's ultimate predators, but here, they're the prey hunted by the poorest of the poor. After the kill, there was no cheering, no victory cries, only silent nods. Everyone understood this wasn't glory, it was survival. The shark would be brought back to the village, its fins cut and dried, the most precious part, sold to traders from Suraya, sometimes even from China. Each kilo of dried shark fins was worth a month's wage. The meat would be dried for fish sauce, the skin sold to tanneries, the liver boiled down for oil. Not a single piece went to waste. Every part could be traded for rice, salt, or medicine for the children. On the way back, the boat sat heavy in the water, but no one spoke. Only the wind and waves made a sound. Mr. Dang lit a hand-rolled cigarette, the bitter smoke curling up into the morning air. He exhaled slowly and said, "The sea gives us life, but it also demands repayment." He pointed toward the dark patch of water in the distance, maybe a streak of blood. Every day the sharks disappear. Our village disappears with them. He said quietly. I'll never forget the look in his eyes, not anger, not fear, but something heavier, like tired acceptance. In a place where poverty eats away at every meal, there's no choosing between right and wrong, only between life and death. When night falls, the village glows under torchlight. On the sand, men carve up shark meat, their feet stained red with blood. Children run around laughing, unafraid. Women wash shark fins in salt water and lay them neatly on drying racks. The sharp, fishy scent fills the air, blending with wood smoke and sweat. The whole village hums like a haunting song from the sea, wild, rough, and strangely beautiful. I sat outside my hut, staring at the sand where the giant shark lay still, its silver skin gleaming under the moonlight. A boy, maybe 10 years old, came and sat beside me. "Are you afraid of sharks?" he asked. I smiled. "Yes," I said, "but I think they're beautiful." He nodded and looked toward the horizon. "My father says," he began, but his voice faded as the night deepened. The next morning, mist still clung to the thatched roofs when the sound of wooden drums echoed from the shore. It wasn't a hunting day. It was Burumba, the whaling day. For the Lamasera people, this was sacred, a solemn promise to the sea, held only a few times each year. When the winds shifted and whales migrated through the deep southern waters, the entire village moved as one. No man ever sailed alone. They prepared together as if for battle, bound by a single breath, ready to live or die together. From afar, I saw dozens of long boats called peladang lined up along the sandbank, carved from star tree trunks, bound with rattan and beeswax, not a single iron nail used. Each boat carried up to 10 men, led by the Lamafa, the family's chosen spear-bearer, a title passed down through generations. These weren't just fishermen, they were sea warriors, believing the whale was a divine gift, and only those with true courage and reverence were worthy of the hunt. Before setting out, the Lamafa knelt down, pressed his forehead against the tip of his spear, and whispered prayers in an ancient tongue. They prayed for kind winds, calm waves, and for the whale's spirit to find peace. Then a sudden roar, as loud as a heartbeat. The whole beach came alive. Boats were pushed toward the sea, sliding over round logs. The shouts of the men blended with the rhythm of crashing waves like a song from some forgotten age. About an hour out, the sun hung high and bright. The sea shimmered like a giant mirror, and the wind carried the salty, sun-baked scent of the open ocean. Eyes strained toward the horizon. searching for plumes of mist signs of whales. Suddenly, a shout "bail" echoed from the lead boat, pointing to a dark shape in the distance. Instantly, the entire fleet shifted course. Oars struck the water hard, churning small waves that rolled one after another. I had never seen anything so fierce or so breathtaking. The surface of the sea seemed to rise as dozens of boats raced forward like arrows loosed from a bow. Then it appeared. A giant whale, at least 10 meters long, broke the surface to breathe, sending a column of white spray into the air. Its back gleamed like polished steel beneath the sun. The Lamasera stood upright, muscles tense, both hands gripping his spear, eyes locked on the target. When they were just a few meters away, he shouted a single, guttural cry and hurled the spear with all his strength. The steel pierced the whale's thick hide with a sound that split the air metal against flesh. Followed by the churn of boiling water, a deep, agonized roar rolled across the sea as the whale thrashed, its massive tail striking the waves and spraying white foam into the sky. The entire boat shook violently. The man holding the rope that tethered the spear was thrown overboard, but his crewmates hauled him back in within seconds. No one hesitated. No one gave up. Blood churned in the water until everything turned red. The giant creature fought desperately, diving deep, then bursting upward again, dragging the boat behind it like a toy. Another spear flew, then another, one after another, until the great whale's strength gave out. Its breathing slowed, then stopped. The sea grew still, the red fading to a dark silence. No one cheered. There were no victory cries, only a heavy quiet, because even in triumph, a whale's death carried sorrow. The villagers believed its spirit would return, bringing rain and fish to bless them once more. When the whale's body was finally pulled to shore, no blade touched it right away. The hunters stood in a circle around it, singing an old song, a song of apology to the sea. The melody rose and fell with the waves, so hauntingly beautiful, it made my throat tighten. It sounded like both a prayer and a farewell. By afternoon, the village was thick with the smell of salt and blood. Once again, men worked barehanded, carving slabs of whale meat, their shirts stained red. Each family received a share. The Lamasera got the head. The poorest families took the tail. No traders came. No money changed hands. There was only sharing because everyone had given something to the sea. Strips of whale meat were hung on ropes to dry, while smoke from kitchen fires drifted through the air. Children laughed, playing whale riding on the sand, while the elders sat nearby, telling stories of ancestors who once faced giants of the sea with nothing but their bare hands and faith. The villagers gathered around, one hand gripping a knife, the other holding a basin of salt water. There were no ceremonial trays, no offerings, only heat, the thick smell of fish and salt, and the slow, steady breathing of people who had done this their whole lives, dissecting the sea's gifts with quiet precision. They began at the head, where the skin was toughest. The blade didn't just slice through flesh, it carved through pride. Each stroke was slow and careful, cutting through the rough skin as thick and coarse as tree bark. The knife caught the sunlight, tilted slightly to avoid piercing the soft white flesh below. Every movement made a faint hiss, like sand dragging across wood. An old man sat nearby, guiding a younger one. With the tip of his knife, he gently separated the skin from the fat beneath. "Don't rush," he warned. "If the cut goes crooked, the skin will tear and it won't dry right." Once dried, the sunfish's hide would be turned into bags or stitched into waterproof covers for boats. Two young men gripped the edges of the skin, pulling hard to stretch it flat like cloth, while a third slipped his blade into the center, slicing carefully, centimeter by centimeter. Sweat rolled down their arms, mixing with seawater dripping onto the fish below. They worked in silence, broken only by the scrape of steel and the faint murmur of distant waves. When the first layer of skin came off, a heavy, oily smell rose thick and hot, like burned oil. Beneath it lay a dense layer of meat, soft and damp, white as candle wax. They began to cut along the grain, long strips the length of an arm. Steady and sure with every motion, the knife moved diagonally from the head down toward the belly, careful not to pierce the liver, the part they always kept for themselves. A woman stepped forward, bamboo basket in hand, catching each slab of meat as it fell free. She rinsed every piece quickly in salt water before carrying it to the drying racks. Under the hot sun, the flesh would shrink, turn a soft ivory color, and take on that clean, briny scent the villagers called the smell of peace. They said that's when the fish was finally sleeping peacefully beneath the sun. The belly meat was softer, oilier, so the men switched to small curved knives, carefully slicing away the layers of fat. The fat was gathered into a basin, either dried separately or melted down to extract its oil. That oil lit lamps through the night, and on the leanest days, it was mixed with rice to fill empty stomachs. The liver was placed aside in a basket wrapped with banana leaves. It was large, heavy, and gleamed with a pale yellow oil. The villagers said one pot of sunfish liver could feed an entire family for a week, but others whispered an old belief that if you ate too much, you'd dream of the sea, and hear the fish calling your name in the middle of the night. When almost all the meat was cut, it was time to turn the fish. 6 men took up ropes, each gripping a corner, counting aloud before heaving together. The massive body, hundreds of kilos, slid across the wet sand, revealing its thick, flat back shining under the blazing sun. As the sun sank low over Lamasera, the waves turned gold, and the smell of salt smoke, and life drifted through the village once more. The people cleaned their knives, folded their nets, and looked out toward the horizon where tomorrow's hunt was already waiting. Out here, survival isn't a choice. It's a tradition written in salt water and blood. But one question lingers when survival means taking life from the ocean. Where do we draw the line between necessity and cruelty, between respect for nature and the hunger that never ends? Is this the story of human courage or a reminder that we're consuming the very sea that sustains us? Tell us what you think. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one, And if you believe stories like this deserve to be told, don't just watch the shock, be part of it. Like, subscribe, and join the Real Shock community where every story dives deeper and every wave hides another mystery. Thank you for watching, for caring, and for standing with those who respect the sea. We'll see you in the next reel.